All right, now I'm going to copy a couple of columns here and make a quick plot. I just want to take this column here, the A column. Now notice if on almost any spreadsheet, if you click up here on the letters, it highlights that whole column. It'll go forever, whatever that means on a spreadsheet. But what I want to do is I just want to take this column A, put it here in D, and column C, put it here in E. Now I could do that with copy and paste, but I also want to show you some other spreadsheet tools. So to get column A over here, what I want to do is say, well, I'm telling the spreadsheet I just want to put here whatever is there. Well, that's a formula when you're telling the spreadsheet to do something. So you always start a formula with an equal sign. And to tell it I want what's in A1, I could type A1 here. There's the cell A1. I could just type an A1 here, but I find it best to click on things. And there, when I click on it, it says A1. Now, if I were to click somewhere else before hitting enter, see, it changes that to A5. And sometimes you can screw stuff like that up, and you just kind of have to back out and try again. But here it's easy to fix. A1, I hit enter. Notice it didn't make it bold or anything like that, and I can come up here and grab the line between those two, make it a little wider. Now if I say copy and I paste right here, so there's one way to copy and paste. Notice it did the 3, and if I double click on there to see what the cell actually has, notice it changed the A2 to the A1 to an A2 because I copied down. And so if I copy this cell A2 down to here, I'll get A3, because if I go down a row, it's going to change that 2 by 1 row. But on the other hand, so I'll just hit enter. If I copy this one, the A1 down here, it will also change it to an A3 because I came down 2 rows. And if I do another copy and a paste, I'm using the right click to get this menu just to show you that I am doing copy and paste. Now normally I do something like Control C and Control V. So if I hit those keys, I hit Control C right now, click here, and then hit Control V. There's a paste, and notice everything's working out. That is indeed A4, and it highlights over here to show me that. So I have those. Now another way in spreadsheets, usually just about every spreadsheet I think I've ever seen, say I've just I could come up here and say, I just entered that A1, hit my enter, got the quality rating copied over here. Now another way to copy and paste is what I'd call fill in, and there's this little black rectangle down here in the right hand corner. If I grab that and I left click to hold it and drag down, it automatically does copy and paste for its fill in. And just to check that, see, it says A11, that is cell A11, it did what I wanted. Now even better than that, and this is something a student showed me many years ago, is right, I have to fill it all the way down here to the bottom, the 50 rows. Well, actually if I just click on that, or even if I click on a couple of them, if I then double click on this thing, double left click, it just fills it down as far as there's a match. That's awesome. So if you had 100 rows or 1,000 rows or something like that, what a quick way to do that. And now I'll do the same thing very quickly here. I'm just going to say equals, and I want that column. I don't really have to do that, but it's just easier to make a plot that way. If I have my X and then my Y. And so there, and now I've got my screen a little big. I'm going to make it a little smaller so we can see things a little better. I'm going to widen that to fix that. But now I'm just going to do that double click thing to fill that all in. But again, all I'm doing is copy and paste, and you are free to do copy and paste any way you want. And well, and just to show you, let me get rid of some of these. You know, I could have done a copy and paste as, you know, copy with that, or Control C, or using something up here. And then if I highlight that whole thing and do a paste, it fills it all in, and you see everything's there. Now this isn't centered. I don't have the bold stuff and so forth, and you know, I can do that. I can center the columns. Usually in your ribbon up at the top of your spreadsheet, whatever you have, you've got various commands. And the thing is even, you know, everybody could be using Microsoft Excel, but if they're not all using the same version, the ribbon isn't the same, and so forth. So you know, I don't get too wrapped up in that. I used to worry a great deal about it, but there are just so many different spreadsheets in general now. There are free ones. There are things on the web like Google Sheets and so forth that I don't try to you know, say, oh, you have to use Microsoft Excel version 2007, right? You know, so it's the idea is the same, and anywhere you go, you might have a slightly different spreadsheet version, even if it is all Microsoft, or it is all Mac stuff or something like that, or Google Sheets or whatever. Things change, and you can have different versions. So these types of things, though, work in pretty much any spreadsheet that I've ever used, and so here we have the numbers, and again, if I wanted to, I could go up here and pick center and center everything. Okay, now I want to put in a plot, and the easiest way to do that in this case is I'm just going to go to the D and the E and left click and go over to highlight both columns. And now, you know, again, every spreadsheet's a little different. Usually they have something like insert and a chart. Some just may have a box up here for different types of charts and that sort of thing, but mine, I click for chart, and I'm going to do a XY scatter plot. And in this case, I'm just going to finish, and there we have our data, and it says, you know, it chose for the name of the data the nursing home infection level. Now in your project, you'll put this graph into your report. If you put it in just like this, that's kind of crappy. You know, do a better job. And things, you know, here I only have one item, right? So to say nursing home level infection and do the blue dot here, that's silly. Okay, so I am going to delete that. You know, I can whoops, I'm not sure. I think I have to say edit here first, and then I can, you know, again, every spreadsheet's different. There, I highlighted just on that, and I did a backspace or a delete and got rid of it. Okay, but now, you know, I have no idea what I'm looking at here if I'm reading somebody's thing. And so, yeah, go ahead and, oops. You know, and what I'm doing is I'm just right-clicking, and again, in many spreadsheets, if you just right-click, you can get to these sorts of things. You know, I'm going to insert titles, and so title. Now I could just write the title, If I wanted something different, here I might do something like nursing home infections, and then versus, and it's always Y versus X. So nursing home infections versus quality. Nursing home quality, I'm just going to say quality. Okay, so there's a title. Now, x-axis. Now in this case, actually, for the x-axis, I think I'd just like to use the column header. And so to do that, I think I can go out here, maybe? I don't know. Again, every spreadsheet's a little different, and actually most of my plots, I usually make plots not in the spreadsheet. I make them in other places and so forth. So I don't really do the title stuff a whole lot. And here it doesn't look like I can go out here to find an entry anywhere. So at the moment I'm just going to say OK and start there, and so there's my title. Now actually it's even a little nicer if you could put a figure number with it. So I could go here and do the titles again, and I could put ahead of this something like figure, and I don't know what figure it is, but we'll say figure 1 since at this point it's my first one, and there I've got figure 1, and I say OK. Now, so I could have put my titles in for my two axes in that window. I'm just kind of wondering if I hover over the axis and do a see, I hovered over the axis, did a right click, I can insert an axis title. Oh, well, okay. And let's see about editing it. Now, I'm going to delete it for a minute. I'm going to come out here and, just so I can see what's going on, I've got quality rating and infection level, I guess. So that's what I'm going to do is, again, insert my titles. That's how I have to do it. And I'm going to put quality rating and infection level. And I say OK. And there we go. See, I've got my levels. So there I've made a graph of those data. And now I want to point out how you can put this into a Word document or something like that. Now I don't have Word, but I do have something just like it. And so let me, oh, there it is, LibreOffice Writer. So I'll click on that, I'll open that up. And so here's my document that I'm doing for my report. I go in here and, I'll need a title, all right? I'll have to put a title, my name, have to do that. Our class, math, 2403, fall, 2020, that kind of thing. And then I start talking, here I am saying intelligent things in complete sentences, like that, and then I want to introduce my figure here. So, maybe then, okay, I come back here, I go to that figure. Now all you have to do in almost any of your spreadsheets is I click on it. Notice I can see I clicked on it because I got the little markers for the corners in the middle that I could change its size and all that kind of stuff. Now if I do a copy, and again I'll just do a right click so you can see that I'm doing a copy, and then I come to my document down here, and I just say paste. And there it is. There's my figure. It says figure 1 and so forth. And it's got a little anchor. I guess I can click on the anchor maybe. I don't know. Or click down here. And there it's anchored. Now, if I don't like the size within here, I can always adjust the size a little bit. You know, I say, oh, I'd rather have it look like that and maybe that. You know, I do that. But there you go. I've got nice titles on my axes. I have the figure number, and I have this trend. Okay, and so there we've seen how to do a quick scatter plot and add it to our document this way. And you know, in addition, we saw back here, I'm actually going to go ahead and just delete, well, I'll just move it over to the side here, way over to the side, I guess, and come back. So we saw how I could copy these two columns of data to create that plot. Okay, so that's good for that video, and we'll make some more.